want to start off this video with a question. Have you ever been scrolling through TikTok or YouTube or Instagram and seen someone who was living in a place you've never really wanted to live before, or wearing something you've never thought about wearing, or pursuing a hobby you've never thought about pursuing? And then once you saw that photo or video of them doing it, you suddenly started wondering to yourself, should I do that or wear that or live there? If so, you have fallen prey to mimetic desire, just like we honestly all do. So let's talk about it. Mimetic desire is an idea that was put forth by the French philosopher René Girard, and it essentially refers to our human tendency to want what other people want. But as you'll see as we get into this video, it goes a lot deeper than that. One thing that you need to understand about human nature in order to understand mimetic desire is that if you trace back human history to its very origins, it was absolutely pivotal for us to fit in with the people that surrounded us. Because if we didn't, and if we were excluded from the group, we wouldn't have the same protections or the same resources. And it could quite literally be a life or death situation. And even though our survival nowadays doesn't really hinge on whether or not people like us, it's still sort of hardwired into us as human beings that we want to be liked and we want to fit in. Now, in the context of mimetic desire, this manifests as us needing other people to agree with the decisions we make, or like the things that we buy, or approve of the way that we dress. And because a lot of these decisions are very abstract nowadays, and we have so many options, we subconsciously look for what René Girard referred to as models for us to sort of take inspiration from and ultimately copy a little bit, because we see them as better than us or further ahead than us, and we think they know better than us. Now, these models can be people that we're close to, such as family members or friends or coworkers, but they can also be movie stars and social media influencers and people that we see online. It all really depends on who you personally look up to, but everyone does tend to have models, and those models' beliefs will ultimately influence our beliefs and our desires. Mimetic desire. So now let's get into sort of how this can be detrimental to us. When it comes to the dangers that mimetic desire can present, I think that they fall into one of two categories. Sort of everyday problems that we might face because of it, and then more philosophical, abstract issues that may pop up. And in the everyday category, I think, mimetic desire causes a lot of comparison, especially with the rise of social media. Like, we're just taking in so many different people with so many different lifestyles, and it's, almost impossible, unless you're a very evolved person, not to compare yourself to the people that you're seeing. And when you have so many different models, as René Girard put it, to compare yourself to, it just makes that feeling of inadequacy so much worse. And then another sort of everyday issue I think we're all facing because of this mimetic desire and this increase of models that we have to choose from is a lot of over consumerism. I think that it can lead to us buying more than we need, and changing our wardrobes more often than we need to, redecorating our homes more often than we need to, because the trends are always changing and the models that we're seeing on our For You page vary a lot, and so we just have a lot of new inputs coming at us all the time. And when mimetic desire comes into play that frequently, I just really think it can lead us to, like I said, a lot of over consumerism. And then in the sort of more philosophical, abstract category, ultimately finding your life's purpose and building a life that really fulfills you deep down, it all hinges on you being able to know what it is that you actually want. And like I said, since we're exposed to so many different lifestyles all at once now, and we mimetically desire a lot of it, or at least I do, and I think a lot of other people do as well, it's really difficult to narrow down what it is that will actually make us happy in the long run versus what we think will make us happy or make us more worthy based on what we're seeing online. And I think that can really be a big problem. Now, let's get into some potential fixes for mimetic desire. So, first of all, I think that the very first step that you take in overcoming an issue is honestly learning that it is an issue. So, now that you know what mimetic desire is and you can start to identify where it may be affecting you, I think that really helps you look at things through a different lens and realize when you're being influenced. So, for instance, in my life, I was seeing a lot of things on my TikTok For You page about minimalism and like the clean girl aesthetic and stuff like that. And I sort of got it in my head like, oh, that's what my future home needs to look like. That's my wardrobe needs to be neutral colors, and my home needs to be neutral colors. And I'm someone who naturally really likes bright colors and a lot of different colors. And so this really didn't fit me at all, but I was taking in so much of it on my For You page that I was kind of like, okay, well, this is what everyone else likes, so this is what I should like too. And then once I sort of learned what mimetic desire was, it kind of freed me from that in a way, and I was able to be like, I actually don't think that's what I want for me. Like, it looks great for them, but I think for me, I would prefer this style. So I think that, next time you're scrolling your For You page, and you come across someone who has something different than you do, I think, just knowing that mimetic desire exists can help you discern if you're actually seeing something you want and you want to make that a goal of yours, or if you're just wanting it because the person is influencing you to want it. I hope that made sense. Secondly, I think it's always a good idea to take periods where you detox from social media or from the opinions of other people and kind of go back to what you want. So, just taking like a week off of scrolling and then seeing how you're feeling about goals and things that you want after that week is over, I think is a really powerful way to sort of, like I said, discern what you actually want versus what you're being influenced to want. And I know there are a lot of great journal prompts for this that you can look up, and you can find like lists of them on Pinterest or just online of sort of like prompts that help you get to the bottom of how you're actually feeling about things. You could also try guided visualization meditations. Those can be really helpful to sort of, break through the biases that you built up about what you should want and get to the root of what you actually want. I also think that testing out things before you too heavily invest in them is also a good idea. So, for instance, if you see like a specific aesthetic that you want to try style-wise online, instead of going out and buying a bunch of different clothes that fit that aesthetic, maybe just get like one thing and then see how you actually feel wearing it. Or if it's a new hobby that you want to try, maybe like don't go all out buying a ton of things until you actually are going to enjoy it in your own right. I know that this is something that happened to me when I was a little bit younger. My cousin was really into macrame, And I think she was one of my models at one point. When I was a younger teen, I just, subconsciously thought like she's a lot better than me, older than me, she has it more together than me, and I just wanted to be like her. And so when she got into macrame, I was like, I want to get into macrame. And my parents bought me, bless them, they bought me a ton of macrame supplies, and I never used them. I like did one or two projects, and then I got bored of it and didn't do it, because ultimately it wasn't my desire, it was mimetic desire, so it didn't stick. So yeah, before you invest too heavily in things, testing it out, I think, is a good idea. And along those same lines, I think it's a great idea to give yourself a cool down after you see something, but before you decide you want that thing. So it's so easy when you're scrolling like in the moment to be like, ah, yes, I see this person with short hair and they look so good, so I want to cut my hair, and then you just do it impulsively. But I think it's a good idea to always give yourself like a cool down, like, oh, I think crocheting might be a hobby I want to pursue because I saw this video and it piqued my interest. Because sometimes videos can genuinely just pique your interest, like genuinely. Or having your friend start up something might, inspire you to start it and you might actually enjoy it. But give yourself that cool down of like a week. Like, okay, if I still want to do it in a week, then I'll take it a little more seriously. And then lastly, I think regularly assessing how you're feeling about your life is a good final thing to keep in mind. So I think that we should all sort of regularly reassess everything about our lives, like our style, our goals, our career, everything, where we live, and just kind of see like, am I happy with this? What things would I like to change? And really just sit down and soul search a little bit, and really keep in mind like, what do I actually want? What would actually fulfill me? And then talking to the people closest to you, when you're asking someone else for advice about what you should do, you should always take it with a grain of salt, of course, but like a lot of times the people that surround us are kind of free from mimetic desire when it comes to giving us advice, if that makes sense. So of course they might fall prey to mimetic desire when they're making decisions for them, but they know you so well that when you ask, what should I do, they're going to base it off of, their knowledge of you. They're not going to be like, oh, I think that this style is cool that I saw online, so I'm going to tell them that I think this would be the style for them. Like, if you really trust the person and they're a really good friend, or a really close family member, typically they will be like, what would this person like? So I think that asking other people for advice or their input, especially during like reassessment periods, can be like a valuable source of information. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really want to start making more videos like this where I talk about topics that I've been diving into and researching, because I just, I want to share my journey with you guys, not only my journey of implementing things, but my journey of learning things so that we can all grow together. And I finally came to this realization that I don't want to wait until I feel like I'm fixed to start helping people. I want to help people right now. So currently, my way of doing that is to sort of share what I'm learning as I go. So if you did like this video, please let me know, and please let me know some future topics that you'd like me to talk about if you have any ideas. And yeah, other than that, subscribe and like and do all the things. I'm so bad with outros, but I will see you guys in the next one.